Hello world, it's Tango, and today we're back with an exciting video in the world of Hackintoshing. But before we get to that, I think the 13 viewers of the channel will have noticed a large quality increase. Native 60 FPS, nice new quality, or nice high quality mic. I owe thanks to my friend over at CyberCUP. We're going to be partnering together, working on that YouTube channel. There's not much there right now aside from a test video I uploaded recently, but I'd highly encourage anybody who watches this video to subscribe to that channel. We're going to be doing 2 to 4 player gameplay videos. We're going to be starting with some retro content, and eventually we might move into sort of a show style series driven style of content down the line. That's all I'll say for now. Please go ahead and check it out if you wouldn't mind. Anyway, getting on with the actual video. Today we're going to look at my x99 Hackintosh. I've been working on this for a few days, but recently I've been trying for a few years and actually have not been having a lot of luck until recently. This is not a tutorial. I'm just basically showing off what I was able to get work, talking about the trade-offs of going with x99, and you know, what you might have a hard time with yourself, if you're trying to do this yourself. So with that all being said, let's get right into it. I'll max it, whatever. Alright guys, so as you can see, here we are in the Hackintosh. Some things I'd like to show off. I got my SSDT all set up properly. My Titan X's are being recognized. All my displays, including the capture card. Audio doesn't seem to be working through HDMI with Voodoo. Unfortunately, the native ALC 1150 audio driver on this motherboard, no matter what I seem to do with patching, it just wouldn't work. So we went with the latest version of Voodoo, and unlike previous versions of Voodoo, there's no amplification problems and there's no distortion as far as I can tell. This took me a really long time here. Getting P states working. So as you can see here, my CPU is clocked according to system load. I haven't gotten this perfected yet. I'm not sure if there actually is a way to perfect this yet. Unfortunately, it seems like power states working is fine, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, turbo has a hard time properly working. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's run the CPU benchmark here, which should max out the CPU. Right now, there is headroom up to, I believe, 4.1 gigahertz. And as you can see, once CPU turbo gets initiated, it seems like it kind of just jumps around between any turbo value instead of, maybe it's trying to do load balancing or something, but, you know, typically when you're going for a max load scenario, you just want it to be pegged. So I'm not sure if this is an issue relating to turbo with OS X on Haswell-E, or if this is seriously just the CPU deciding that those are the best clock speeds for a stress test. Yeah, so 122 FPS. A little lower, actually a little higher than the last run. 120 was the last run. So 122, that's pretty fucking good. That's about what you should expect from the GPU. iMessage works, delivered. See, it's there. The FaceTime, right now I have my primary webcam right there, plugged into my recording machine, but it's using the webcam that's typically the keyboard cam for the gaming stream, if you tune in for that. The point is that helping you with these projects, you know, I didn't get much help. I got help from the same places you'll get help, which is forums. So if you want to learn how to do this and you want to learn, just do it. And if you're having a really big problem, you know, that I've solved, there must be a way. If I did it, I'm a smooth brain. If I can do it, you can do it. Trust me. I'm not that smart. So yeah. So here's roughly what we got going on. Now I know that this is going to be extremely intimidating to people who don't know what they're looking at. The reality is all of this is actually pretty well documented and pretty easy to get going. You know, a lot of these options you can turn on without fucking things up, and there's some experimentation involved, but generally it's not that hard to figure out what things do. You can pretty much Google every single thing you see in here and figure out what it does. You'll get a result. With this current config that you're seeing, sleep doesn't seem to work with the EVGA Micro 2, no matter what dark wake setting I use. No matter the case, I'm not sure if it's a USB. Unfortunately, I've been trying to track down the problem using the traditional methods, but you know, if I look up for wake reason in my logs, the only response I get is a question mark, which doesn't help much. I believe it's just related to the fact that power management hasn't been perfected on this platform yet. So once power management is perfected, when turbo is working properly and all of that is working natively, chances are sleep will also follow suit. So for whatever reason, sleep isn't working 100%. It actually doesn't cripple anything on the computer though. So if you do go ahead and do a sleep, you won't. The system will do the typical shutdown that is supposed to happen with sleep, and then unfortunately in under 2 seconds it will turn itself back on, and then, you know, just bring you back to your desktop relatively quickly and without losing any functionality. But unfortunately that doesn't work properly. Most guides for x99 Hackintoshing will tell you to disable your CSM, but in or compatibility support module in your BIOS. But I found that actually I needed the CSM to be able to even boot. I believe that's PCI Express related, but is what it is. So yeah, keep that in mind, I guess. Always give turning on the CSM a shot. Yeah, so here we go. We got some kernel extension patches. One of these is to basically turn back on the primary GPU. Due to me using the Mac Pro 6.1 model SM BIOS, there's a plist edit you can do, or you can do a patch in here. I've done both to bring back your graphics on boot, because your graphics, if you have more than one display plugged in, will not show up in the boot. So you'll boot, everything will actually load in, but your first GPU will be dead, or rather will not output, because it gets turned off in some way. Okay, this is exactly what I was looking for. So the problem is that, yeah, I'll just let you can clearly see here. The problem is that most x99 systems are allocating a lot of memory to PCIe devices, allocating the memory in many memory fragments rather than one continuous chunk. So essentially what this means is the top here, what you're seeing here on the top of this diagram, my mouse cursor is going over. This is kind of what x99's memory allocation looks like, where this is what any other platform's memory allocation looks like. So due to this being all over the place and really congesting the memory you have, it can basically, well, it will cause your system to not boot, because you won't be able to get all the memory allocation space you need for the bootloader. So this patch frees the first 512 megabytes of fragmented memory, so that the kernel and the kernel cache and the memory maps that are all used to get OS X to run can boot successfully. I found that this patch isn't a foolproof patch. This patch, believe it or not, does not actually work 100%. Actually will not boot successfully every time. I found that even with this patch, sometimes you have to attempt to boot multiple times. You'll get memory allocation errors frequently. Wow, what a load of nerdy bullshit. Yeah, I know. Sorry about the, I know it's a little staler than usual, but hey, sometimes that's what your boy be into. And when your boy into this nerdy bullshit, I mean, you either gotta eat what I give you, or you can fuck off. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully you got something out of this episode. Don't buy Apple products.